Hello Year 4, I hope you're all okay. Today in maths we're going to be looking more in about dividing two-digit numbers by one-digit numbers. You're going to realise and notice what's different about today's lesson that we didn't do yesterday. Now before we get into today's lesson, you have your daily fluency questions. This here is to remind you how we could divide, but this one specifically fits with question number 1. And if you want to use the same method for question number 2, that is entirely up to you. So pause the video now, spend around about 3 minutes on our daily fluency questions for today, please, Year 4. Okay, so number 1, 72 divided by 3. You will start with your largest value, which is your tens, so you will be able to put your tens into the right rows. If you had any left, which you should have had 1 10 remaining, you would have exchanged this for 10 ones, giving you 12 ones in total. Splitting those between 3 rows give you the answer of 24. Number 2, 96 divided by 3 is 32. Number 3, 32 multiplied by 3. You could use the short written multiplication method to work this out, or you could have partitioned the number 32 into 30 and 2, multiply both by 3 and then add them together. Either way, you would have got 96 as your final answer. Number 4, round 347 to the nearest 100. Well, if it's asking me to round to the nearest 100, I need to think which of these values is my hundreds column. Well, I can see that 3 is representing my hundreds. It's representing 3 hundreds. So we can look at this number after it in our tens column, 4, to determine whether we're rounding up to the nearest 100 or down to the nearest 100, which would either be 400 or 300. Because it's a 4, we are rounding down to 300. Number 5 then, it's asking you 2 parts to this question. How many groups and how many are in each group? So we can see here that there are 1, 2, 3, 4 groups, and there are 3 donuts in each group. Whereas here we have 1, 2, 3 groups, but this time there are 4 cubes in each group. Okay, so have a think about that. Okay, so today we are going to be looking at more division sums, and I'm going to be showing you something different today. First of all, we're going to look at a few divisions using cubes to help us. So here I have 16 red cubes. Now I want to divide them by 2, so I'm going to make groups of 2. So I'm going to start with making my first group of 2, my second group of 2, until I have used all the cubes using groups, making groups of 2. I then have some stem sentences that I need to fill out to help me find the answer to 6 divided by 2. So there are something cubes altogether. How many cubes did I start with? We started with 16 cubes. Well done. Now, there are something groups of 2. Now, we put them into groups of 2, but how many groups of 2 did we find? I can count them. I've got 1 group, 2 group, 3 group, 4 group, 5 group, 6 groups, 7 groups. 8 groups of 2. Fantastic. So, 16 divided by 2 must be 8. Let's look at another example. This time we are dividing by 4. So, how many cubes do you think will have to be in one group? That's right, there should be 4 cubes in each group. So if we start by making one group of 4, and we can continue this until all the cubes are used. So we can see here that again, there are 16 cubes altogether. But this time, how many groups of 4 have we made? Can you count them? Absolutely, there are 4 groups of 4. So 16 divided by 4 must be 4. Well done. Let's look at a final example altogether then. So this time we are dividing by 5. We've got the same amount of cubes, 16 cubes altogether, and this time we are dividing by 5. How many cubes are going to be in one group this time, Year 4? Absolutely. My divisor, the number we are dividing by, is 5, so we need to make sure that there are 5 cubes in each group. So let's make our first group of 5. There we are. We know we can make another group of 5, fantastic, and we can make one more group of 5. Now, look what's happened here. There is 1 cube that's left over. Now, we cannot make a group of 5 with this number, so I'm going to show you what we can do with it. But let's start by thinking, how many groups of 5 are there? Well, we've made 3 groups of 5, but we need to think about this extra 1 that we've got remaining. So there is how many cubes remaining, Year 4? 1 cube remaining. That means 1 cube that's been left over that can't be used in our groups. Fantastic. There's 1 cube remaining. So we call this a remainder. If there are any numbers that are left over when you have divided and that they cannot be used in any more groups, we call them remainders. So 16 divided by 5 is 3, because we found 3 groups of 5. Remainder 1. Well done. If we had 2 cubes left over, it would be remainder 2. And if we had 3 cubes left over, we're going to see what would happen if that happens soon, okay? I would like you to have a go. Pause the video here and see if you can finish off these sentences. Pause the video and off you go. Okay, so I know that this time my divisor is 6. So I am making groups of 6. So I can start by making my first group of 6 and another group of 6. Now I am left with 4 cubes. Can I make another group of 6 with these 4 cubes? I can't, no, so these will be my remaining cubes. So now I've grouped my cubes, I can begin to start my sentences. So I know that there are 16 cubes altogether. There are something groups of something. Now how many groups have we made? Well done, we've made 2 groups. And how many were in each group? Yes, that's right. We had 6 cubes in each group because 6 was our divisor. How many cubes can you see that are remaining? 4, well done. So something divided by something is something, remainder something. Well, we know we always start with our whole number at the start of our division sentence, and our whole number was 16. Now we were dividing by 6. We didn't need to find that out because it's already there up here. Now we found out that we had 2 groups, so 16 divided by 6 was 2, but we did have some cubes remaining. So we had 4 cubes remaining. So 16 divided by 6 equals 2, remainder 4. Fantastic work, Year 4. Now it's your turn to have a go at questions 1, 2 and 3 on the worksheet, remembering when to use those remainders. Pause the video here and have a go, please. Okay, we're going to look at another way to find the answer to a division question. Now here we are using the same sum that we worked out earlier. We worked out that 16 divided by 4 was 4. I'm going to show you now how you can use a number line as one of your methods for working out division. So here you can see that I have a number line and my number line goes up to 16. Why do you think it doesn't go any further than 16? That's right, because 16 is our whole number. It's the number that we are dividing into groups. Well done. Now, because we are dividing by 4, we're going to use the same idea of making groups. Now, we are going to make groups of 4. Starting from the number 16, we're going to count backwards in groups of 4. So we can see we've counted in our first group of 4 because 16 take away 4 is 12. We know that 12 is a bigger number than 4, so we can still count backwards in groups of 4s. So we're going to count backwards in another group of 4, because 12 take away 4 is 8. Can you see that I haven't actually jumped on my same number? Because if I jumped on 12 and then 2, 3, 4, I would have inaccurately counted those 4 jumps. So you need to make sure from the number you start with, so if I started at 16, you take your first jump as your next number, that you don't jump on the same number. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So far I have made 2 groups of 4, but I know I can make another group. And I can also make another group. Notice how I've landed on 0. You need to think about this when we're looking at the next question. So I can see here that I have made 4 groups of 4. So 16 divided by 4 is 4. This one is a little bit different. Now, we again have the whole number of 16. So we start at the number 16. This time our divisor, the number we are dividing by, is 5. So how many is going to be in one group? Absolutely 5. So we're going to start at 16 and we're going to count back in 5. So ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've counted one group of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Counted another group of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've counted another group of 5. Can we count any more groups of 5? What number have I landed on? That's right, I've landed on the number 1. Now, I can't make any more groups of 5 with just one jump remaining. You can hear it in my voice. I've just used the right terms. So how many groups have I made? I have made 3 groups of 5 and I have got 1 remaining. So 16 divided by 5 is 3, remainder 1. Super. I would like you to pause the video and have a go at answering this one first. Pause the video here and off you go. Okay, so we know we are starting at the number 16 because that is our whole number. We are going to this time be making jumps of 7. So we can make our first jump of 7, landing at the number 9. And we can see that because 9 is larger than 7, we can make another group of 7. We've landed at 2. And we know that we cannot make another group of 7 when we only have 2 jumps remaining. So we have made 2 groups and we have 2 remaining. So 16 divided by 7 is 2, remainder 2. Fantastic. Now, I have got some more number lines here and I've got some divisions here for you to look at too. I want you to think if you agree with what Tiny has found the answers. Pause the video here and have a think, please. Okay, so we already know that 16 divided by 4 is 4. Now, we don't actually need to work out 17 divided by 4, because if we've increased our whole number by 1, it means that we would have added on a remainder 2, like this number line shows. Similarly, with 18, we've also added an extra 1 onto our whole number, which means our remainder would be added 1 onto as well, which is 4, remainder 2. Similarly, with 19, we've gone up again, so that means our remainder will have increased here too. But what's Tiny done wrong with the final one? He said that 20 divided by 4 is 4, remainder 4. But it can't be 4, remainder 4, because they've landed on 4, which means they could make another jump of 4. So actually, the right answer should be 5. Okay, because if our remainder can only be less than what we are dividing by. So if we're dividing by 3, we couldn't have a remainder of 3 because we could make another group with that 3. So our remainder always has to be less than what we are dividing by. I would like you to have a go at questions 4 and 5 on the worksheet. Pause the video here now, please. Okay, so we now have the problem of finding the missing number. So 21 divided by something gives us 4, remainder 1. How on earth am I going to work this out? Well, I can see here that I've got my 21 counters. We know that we will have made 4 groups. So we can make those 4 groups there, ready to put the counters in. We also know that we have remainder of 1, so we can move that remainder of 1 to the side for the time being. And we can then begin to split the rest of our counters between our 4 groups. So I'm going to begin by putting 1 counter in each box. And I can see that I've got an equal amount of counters in each box, so then I can start to spread the other counters out too. So that's exactly what I'm going to do until all of my counters have been filled. I can see now that how many counters do I have in one of my groups of 4? I can see that I have 5 counters in one of my groups. So 25 divided by 5 gives me 4, remainder 1. Fantastic. I would like you to use the place value counters to think how you could work this one out, please. Off you go. Pause the video. Okay, so we know that we can use our place value chart to work this out. So we know that we have 3 rows because our divisor is 3. So what we can start with is our 10s or our 1s? Our 10s. So we can start by putting 1 10 in each row and then another 10 in each row. What are we going to do with this extra 10 here for? Absolutely, we're going to exchange it for 10 1s. Why can I not put this 10 and this one here? Yes, because all of the rows have to have equal amounts of 10. Well done. So I now have 13 1 to split in between 3 rows. So I'm going to do that now. I have got 4 1s in each of my rows, but I've got 1 1 remaining. So I can see that 73 divided by 3 gives me 24, remainder 1. Can you have a go at the rest of the questions on the worksheet, please?